Meet my new friends, Santino and Sophia. This British power couple creates amazing content about fitness and travel. Among their many international adventures, the Philippines stood out as one of their favorites, inspiring Santino and Sophia to spend a total of 6 months there. During their stay, they volunteered at an animal shelter, where they worked with local people to help stray dogs. To further support the cause, Santino and Sophia launched a GoFundMe campaign to raise money for dogs in need in the Philippines. If you'd like to contribute, be sure to check out the link below. We had a fantastic conversation all about Filipino languages, culture, and food, what makes the Philippines so special, the differences between England and the Philippines, and so much more. I hope you guys enjoy the video. How long have you guys been doing content for?
Basically, when I met Sophia, I wanted her to help me with a video promotion for my personal training business. So we started trying to make videos then together, doing content, and that was over 3 years ago. But Sophia, you tell them your sort of story.
Yeah, I've been doing content since I was about 12 years old. I started a YouTube channel, then I kind of stopped for a bit, and yeah, now I've kind of started it back up again the last few years.
So does that mean that you guys have like your own individual channels as well outside of the traveling one you guys do together?
I have my own TikTok page, but now we mainly do Instagram and YouTube together.
But what you were doing on your own, Santino, you said it was like fitness for you. And Sophia, what is your niche like on TikTok?
Well, now I do travel content, but in the past I was doing more beauty and fashion type content.
So how did you guys get started doing like travel stuff?
We made a vision board. The only thing on the vision board that we completed was traveling. And I'd been working very hard when I first met her. And I'm like, you know what? I'd really just love to travel and see the world because lockdown happened and all of that. And we kind of had very similar goals as each other that we wanted to go see the world and fell in love with it. We were going on 1 week holidays with each other maybe every few months and whatnot. And that was beautiful. But we really wanted to try and make it more of a lifestyle and document the process.
Well, that's cool. I mean, even if that's the only thing you did on the vision board, it seems like a big thing. When was your last trip to the Philippines?
We went in June and then we came back in November. So it was a 5-month trip. But the first time we went was 2023 in November for 1 month.
Okay, so how many times have you been there? Has it just been the 2 times?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 separate years, yeah.
So the first time was for a month, and the second time, how long were you there?
5 months.
Wow, okay. So what was it about the first trip that made you want to come back?
Well, we just got back from a volunteering trip in Bali in 2023, and then it was after the volunteering trip, we then went to Darakotan Island, which is this place near El Nido. We were there for a month. We've heard there's so many different islands in the Philippines, so many different areas, but we were more just in this one place on that island, and it was a beautiful island. Don't get me wrong, we made good friends and good memories, but we didn't really feel like we got to explore it. And so many people would be coming to this place that we were volunteering and telling us all about these amazing different places. Oh, you must go here, you must go there. And this is so great. We're like, we've only been, and we planned to come home for Christmas after November, of course. And we felt like all these amazing places we've heard about, we didn't even get to experience. So we thought next year, Sophia's hot on TikTok, telling me all the places that we're going to. I'm just the bodyguard. I just turn up.
Yeah, like if you talk to Filipino people about going to the Philippines on a vacation, that's like number one on the list is like, well, you got to go to Palawan, you got to go to Boracay. And I haven't been to either one, actually. Are you interested in learning Tagalog but having trouble finding quality learning materials? Allow me to introduce my beginner's Tagalog course. 8 years ago, I began teaching myself Tagalog, but I got really frustrated, not only by the complexities of the language, but also the lack of resources for Tagalog. So that's why I decided to create the language course that I wish I had when I started learning. Sign up for my beginner's bundle and get lifetime access to 18 video lessons with corresponding PDF vocabulary sheets. Click the first link down below to get started. Now, back to the video. What were you guys doing on that island? What were you volunteering with?
It's basically a resort on this island, and we was just helping out with activities. It was a workaway. I don't know if you've heard of workaway. So we was just helping out with the guests Santino was doing some fitness classes. Yeah, just like taking the guests around village tours and things like that.
Like the workaway is like where you work for room and board essentially, right? Like you work a few hours every day and then you can stay there for free.
So to speak, we didn't feel like it was work, so to speak. It was more like enjoy hanging out with the staff whilst we're interacting with the guests. It wasn't necessarily like at this time you must do this and you must be there. Very like
relaxed
guests and
pretty informal arrangement.
Yeah, it didn't feel like I'm reporting to a boss or anything, you know.
Had you guys done those workaways before in other places?
I think that was the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah, we done some English teaching in Bali just before we went to the Philippines. That wasn't a workaway.
That was a set program. There was one called Go to Co, which is really good. They kind of get you teaching English around the world, and we saw it, and yeah, we made some amazing. It's funny. Sophia was quite scared before we were going to Bali. She's like, "Oh, the kids aren't gonna like me." And then when we left to go to the Philippines, she had like 40 children crying, actually leaving. Anyway, so yeah, that was like a program. Then we started using Workaway, and we realized that there's so many Filipinos on Workaway, and so many. We feel like it really gets you a chance to actually experience the culture rather than just being a complete tourist. You know, we did one in a dog shelter in Mobile in Cebu called Mobile Animal Welfare. Beautiful people, nice place. There's got 85 stray dogs there, so you really feel like you're making a little bit of a difference looking after the dogs. And you know, they took us around their house for dinner. You don't just feel like you're just a tourist. You actually feel like you get involved.
Yeah, like you're living with local people. You're not just like staying at a hotel or something like that. Yeah, I saw that video that you guys did at the dog shelter. That looked really cool. Like when I was in the Philippines, that was one of the first things that I noticed, how many like dogs there are living on the street. There's so many. Like, and I get that that's a common thing, especially like in developing countries. There seems to be a lot of like stray dogs and stray cats. Like people just don't necessarily have like the resources to be able to like spay and neuter their pets like they do here, right? It's really sad, you know, because a lot of those dogs just don't have anyone there to help them. So it's cool that there are organizations like that one, you know, doing something to make a difference in that.
Yeah, I know that some foreigners do that, but this one is like locally run. So it's just nice to see other Filipinos caring for dogs.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I would imagine that's not the only one. You know, I'm sure there's other ones around too doing that. I saw that you guys had a GoFundMe raising some money to like help the dogs in the Philippines. Now that you guys are back in the UK, is that still going?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'll put a link to it in the description and then people can check it out if they watch this video.
That means a lot. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
It's important, you know, looking after the animals. Yeah, it is sad.
Something an activity we often would do is we'd go out on a scooter, and I was like, "Do you want to do Paw Patrol today?" And she's like, "Yeah, let's go." So Paw Patrollers would go out looking for dogs that look a bit skinny. We kind of stop on our bike. We're like, "Nah, you look too fat, drive." And then we find dogs that look a little bit, you know, worse for wear, or whatever, and just drop them off food and give them a bit of love and a bit of attention. And it's really sad. There's one in Ron there. We call it Mukdo dog, right? There was this mother dog, literally had like 3 newborn puppies. When we drove past, and I was like, "Oh no." Sadly, there was one like just passed away over the street, and I was like, it just really like hit us. Oh wow, these dogs aren't like aware of the road. They're not. And we kept coming back every day to see her. And then one day we came back and the puppies weren't there. We were quite upset the puppies weren't there because we just hoped that maybe someone looked after them or took them in. And so I felt really bad, and we felt really bad for the mother dog. So she was the number one that we kept coming back every day. We kind of felt like she was our dog by the end of it. And on the last few days in Colombia, we went to this dog shelter, and we seen one of the dogs in the puppies in the dog shelter. It was so like nice to know that someone did look after it and someone did take care of it, you know?
Someone was watching out for him. I remember I went to Bohol, very beautiful place, you know, right on the ocean and everything, obviously being a smaller island. I remember driving on these back roads, especially after it was getting kind of a little bit dark, and they would be very narrow, like a 2-lane road, but very narrow, and just dogs on both sides of the road, just sleeping on the cement or kind of creeping into the road or crossing in between cars. And I was just like, man, how many dogs are getting hit by cars here like every day? Like it seems like we're within a foot of hitting a dog every 5 minutes on a stretch of road. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, we saw a lot of dogs run over.
You're from Canada, right? I suppose, like, you know, Canadians treat dogs like English do, I suppose. They treat them like members of our, you know, I've got my doggy pictures up here. You know?
Yeah.
Treat our dogs like members of the family, right? So I think, like you said out there, sometimes maybe it's a cost thing. It's just maybe a cultural thing. It's just, yeah, it's hard for us to see them just not being given some attention and love, I guess.
So you guys went on your first trip for a month, and then you said, hey, there's lots of other places that we want to go that we haven't been to. Let's go back. And where was the first place that you went to on the second trip?
Well, we stayed in Manila for a few nights, and then we went to Cebu, and then we was doing the dog volunteering for 2 weeks.
When you got there, did you have like the full 5 months planned out, or did you do it like in chunks of like a couple of weeks here, a couple of weeks there?
Yeah, so we had, I think, the first 3 months planned out, and then we didn't really plan on staying 5 months. We thought, let's go there for 3 months, and then we'll see after that. So we planned the first 3 months.
So did you guys spend most of the time in the south?
We went to, Cagayan and Dioro, then we went to Bohol, and then we went to Siargao, and then we went to Palawan, but then we went back to Bohol after, and back in that that region.
And then also Cebu at the beginning. So like it was mostly like the Bisaya regions.
Yeah, apart from Palawan, yeah.
Did you guys learn any Bisaya while you were there?
Not that I can remember.
Yeah. I mean, it's tricky for us as like English speakers because Filipinos are so good at English, right, to begin with. So it does kind of sometimes get in the way of us having motivation to learn local Filipino languages.
Yeah, we know Po.
But, but do they even use that in Bisaya? I thought that was only like a Tagalog thing.
Might be.
I have some basic words written down in my notes, but it's hard to know which language to learn first. I guess Tagalog is best.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's like Tagalog is definitely the more universal language that you could use all over the country, but Bisaya really is what people are using with each other in the southern Philippines more so. I was kind of worried when I made plans to go down to Cebu and Bohol because I was thinking a big portion of my content is based on the fact that I speak Tagalog, and if I go to the south, that's not necessarily what people speak. And people had told me kind of these stories about like polarizing divides between Bisaya people and Tagalog people, and how I've heard like a million times that Bisaya speakers would rather speak English than Tagalog. And so I had that in my mind going there, like, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to use this language. I think people might even be like standoffish with me if I try to speak Tagalog rather than speak English. And I had all these kind of worries and fears. And then I got there and people were like so nice. They were like totally happy to speak Tagalog. Lots of people spoke Tagalog. I think that in my limited experience, just like anecdotally, more people probably spoke Tagalog than English for the people that I was interacting with. I'd have these like backwards conversations where I would just be speaking Tagalog and they would just be speaking Bisaya, and we were just both guessing what the other person was saying because like the languages are pretty similar. So I would just like hear some words and I'm like, okay, I think I got that. And then they'd be listening to Tagalog and be like, yeah, okay, I think I got that. It was like kind of a mess. But no, people were like way more chill with that than people had led me to believe before I went there. Yeah, so you can definitely use Tagalog wherever you go. You know, I don't think that people are, you know, put off by that necessarily, but
Yeah, I think it's on our list of trying to learn at least how to have some basic conversations a bit more in Tagalog.
And so you had some things on the list for your second trip that you wanted to see, some places you wanted to visit. Were you able to get all of that into the 5-month trip?
I mean, yeah, we saw so much more, we learned so much more, but there's so much to explore there, so we can't wait to go back.
We kind of just want to, for example, we didn't go Boracay, we didn't go to Siquijor.
There's so many places, yeah.
We really love El Nido and Bohol a lot too. We really got some nice friendships there. And yeah, what about you? What was your favorite place, Joe?
We ended up spending a lot of time in Manila. I was only there for 3 weeks and I spent 2 of them in Manila. So I wasn't necessarily thinking that I'd spend a lot of time there, but there were some cool communities that we checked out, like different barangays, like different like little kind of suburb areas of the city where you can really find like cool local people. Some of those were really, really cool. Like Barangay Pio was one that we checked out. That's in Makati. We also went to Barangay Sampaloc, which is just on the edge of Tondo, which is like kind of a culinary hub of Manila. So there was a few places like that that really drew my attention. Sembo, we went to Sembo as well, where like you get in there and they're just like really narrow little streets and like, you know, kids like selling food on like little vendors kind of like selling like food and drinks, and, you know, kids playing basketball and stuff. So I had a lot of really fun interactions in some of those smaller communities. And then when we got out of Manila, we went to Cavite. So like Tagaytay is the big city over there, and that's like it's higher elevation, kind of up on a mountain a little bit, and it has a really nice look out over a lake and a volcano. So that was really cool. I really enjoyed that as well. But ultimately, I think Bohol was my favorite. It just felt like the most kind of like chill, kind of down to earth. It felt like we were really able to like get around in the few days that we were there, and so I felt like I was able to see lots of different areas on the island, and so I think that was probably my favorite, I think.
Yeah, probably the same as us. We really like Bohol.
Did you have a scooter, Joe?
No, we didn't have a scooter. The first day that we were there, we just like walked around asking everyone if they knew someone who like would rent a car or like was a driver. And we wanted to do a tour that we could kind of be more in control of. So we wanted to just like have a car and just do it that way. And so we ended up finding one guy, Richard, who had a car and does these kind of private excursions. And so he took us out. I think we did 3 days where it was like morning till night. We were just driving and going to this place and that place. And then he also had other recommendations of like, you should definitely check out this, or like, what are you looking for? If you want to go swimming, you should do this, and like all over the island. Do you guys have a favorite Filipino food?
Mine would be chicken adobo.
Classic.
Beef caldereta.
Okay.
Different beef calderetas all over the different islands and compare which one's my favorite.
And where's the best beef caldereta?
I would say there's a place in El Nido, 2 different places in El Nido. I can't remember the name, but there's one in the heart of El Nido town where the main strip is next to the beach.
I think it's a dive resort or something.
Yeah, it's like a resort as well, but they put peanut butter in it, which I don't know, it's different. And then some people put peanut butter in it, some people put more tomato in it.
But if you put peanut butter in it, it's got to be getting pretty close to like kari kari.
Yeah.
Because beef caldereta is also a beef stew. I mean, I don't know the difference between beef caldereta and kari kari. So I think I've had kari kari once. I don't know if I've had beef caldereta before.
You seem like more like a barbecue kind of guy.
do I? I'm giving off barbecue vibes. That's interesting. But I like sisig. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
So when are you guys going back to the Philippines? Do you have plans?
This week I'm feeling like going there tomorrow. But we haven't booked it.
Yeah, we haven't booked anything yet, but we know we'll definitely go back this year.
I mean, you guys have been to other countries in Southeast Asia as well, right? You said you were in Bali. You made some videos in Thailand as well. How do those other countries compare to the Philippines?
Yeah, I think in them countries, the people are also really nice and friendly. And obviously, they're also beautiful countries. But I think what's different about the Philippines is they're just even more friendly, like even more welcoming. And also, they speak really good English compared to other countries in Asia we went to. So I feel like there's more of a connection and you can make friends easily.
I feel like less used to tourists perhaps in the Philippines. They're not as fatigued by it, and it's just still like a novelty for a lot of the people that live there. So you just feel like they're happy to see you, and like anything, if you go to a new school, you go to a new workplace, whatever. If you just feel like people are like, who's that? Like they're just so like, hey, how's it going? You're right, come here. It just makes you feel at ease and welcome.
And like a lot of people, a lot of English speakers like us notice that benefit of being able to talk to basically anyone in the Philippines because everyone's got some level of English there and most people speak it, pretty well. And so that helps. It breaks the ice. You can actually have conversations with strangers and you can meet people and they might be less nervous to come up to you and like talk to you and stuff like that. So that's like a really positive thing. Do you guys feel like you missed out on anything by not speaking Tagalog or Bisaya though?
I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to have a conversation in their native tongue for sure. But I think if you can speak English, you're going to be okay in the Philippines for sure. We went from the Philippines to Thailand and we realized just how I was getting out Google Translate to talk to the taxi driver. None of the road signs in Thailand that I saw were in English, which is understandable. It's Thailand. But in Philippines, road signs are in English. You're like, oh, this is nice. Like, I can read that. I know where I'm going. Like,
well, and even if it's a name of a place, like the name of a waterfall in Bohol or something like that, they're still using like the Romanized letters. You can sound it out, where in Thailand it's a completely different script. Like you're not going to guess how it's pronounced. Yeah, the Philippines is a special place for sure. And over having these kind of conversations with people from all over the world, people from Canada and England and Germany and wherever else, there's always that common vibe of like, I feel accepted in the Philippines. That seems to be a kind of a common thread that runs through a lot of these conversations. And I do think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It is beautiful. I think the word you said, accepted, is a good word. Yeah.
And even here in Canada, most of my experience with Filipino culture has been here, right? Not in the Philippines, but people still accept me here and invite me to Filipino parties and stuff. And the conduit for me to do that has been the language, but you don't necessarily need that. Like if you were, just interested in the culture, then people will also accept you just for that, right? For me anyway, I've seen the benefit in my own life of like really embracing other cultures. And so it's amazing when that culture also embraces you back,
Why don't you tell them about the party that we went to 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, so when we got back to England, we went to a Filipino Christmas party, and because of the people, it felt like we was back in the Philippines again. And yeah, they were so welcoming. We were like, I guess, the only kind of English couple there without a Filipino partner. So yeah, it was really nice and really good experience.
Oh, the Filipinos go hard around Christmas. That's a big deal, right? Christmas parties.
Yeah, well, they didn't realize how many Filipinos were in our hometown.
Where are you guys from in England?
It's called Bedfordshire. It's about an hour from London.
And you said that there are quite a few Filipinos that live there, maybe more than you were anticipating.
Yeah, there's a lot more than I realized. Like, I've seen a few at the gym here and there. I didn't know there was hundreds of them.
Yeah, yeah. What is your favorite thing about Filipino culture?
I think for me, it's just how there's big communities there. Like you can just go out in the street and make friends. And compared to England, everyone's kind of stuck in their own home. People don't really even say hi to each other when going past each other in the street. Whereas in the Philippines, they will welcome you in like family. Like we've had so many experiences where we felt like we had a new family there in the Philippines. So I just really love how there's big community aspect in the Philippines.
Yeah, like picture this. We were driving around on the scooter. We've got a trail of different dogs running after us because we've got chicken we're handing out as they're running along our scooter. The kids are smiling, waving, saying, "Hey, how's it going?" We're giving them high fives and giving out chocolates. And people are just waving, saying, "Hey, how's it going?" And then in England today, even just today, walking my dog, I'm like, people are like shocked that you say hello to them and you walk past them. Like, "Hey, how's it going? Have a good day." Like they're just so shocked that anyone's. I find it hard not to say hello. How are you to someone like in England? A lot of people are just trying to just mind their own business. Just don't say the least thing possible to anyone. Just don't make eye contact. Just keep to themselves. Don't want any troubles. I miss the welcomeness and the warmth of the people in the Philippines. Just being so welcoming. You hear music in the distance, and you know if you found out where the music was come from, you could go and enjoy the party with them.
Yeah, Filipinos kind of have a way of making people feel like they're celebrities, you know? Like, I think especially if you're from a different country, there's like a certain amount of intrigue and curiosity. And there was lots of people that I met walking around on the streets, and people are like, "Hey, can we like take a photo?" And these are people that they have no idea that I make videos or anything. They just want to be a part of whatever's going on. And, you know, people just want to be a part of the energy, and they really bring that energy with them and that friendliness that everyone talks about in the Philippines. And so, yeah, they made me feel like the celebrity that I'm not, I guess.
Same.
No, they're very welcoming for other cultures and tourists, which is great because, you know, in some places and you just feel like almost like, oh, another foreigner.